Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting. I'm Watty, and today I am joined by a very special guest. It is the Raiders' top scorer, Matt Gomercic. Oh, I've fucked it up. I knew I was going to do that. I'll start again. Gomercic. I knew I'd do that. Right. Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting. I am Watty, and I am joined by the Raiders' top scorer, Matt Gomercic. Oh, fuck you. Oh, I can't stop thinking about it now. I keep saying it wrong. I could do this 100 times. I'll fucking cut an intro in a second. Fuck. I never mess the intros up either. I normally just go free ball straight off. Fuck it. I need to practice the name, but then the more I practice it, the less it's in my brain.
Yeah, right the first time.
I know I did. I shot my load so early. Do you know what? I think this is probably a pretty funny intro. It's 4,000 and counting. People wouldn't expect any less. Either way, folks, whether you've got a newer intro or whether this is the intro, because I can't speak properly, Matt is joining us in a very, very crucial week in his season. So, Matt, first of all, thanks for taking the time out of your schedule. Congratulations on a huge victory over Peterborough at the weekend. How are you feeling right now, my man?
Really good. Obviously, being the lower seed, it was kind of, I think we were the underdogs, but there was always kind of that belief in the room that we could kind of take them down, even, we didn't really beat them since, I think, preseason, even before I got here. So I think there's still a lot of belief in that room, and it kind of showed over the weekend. So guys are over the moon, and so are the fans. So excited to get to Coventry and get things going.
It's such a good weekend to be a part of, more so if you're playing. And the Raiders haven't been there, for a good amount of years now. They're going to be absolutely flying. What do you make of your playoff semi-final lineup? Obviously, you guys are coming in and you're going to be taking on the Sheffield Steel Dogs. How have you fared against them so far this season?
I think we took them to overtime about 3 times. I can't really. I'm so bad with remembering, scores and all that. So
yeah.
I don't really remember. I know the last time we played them in Romford, we were able to beat them in overtime. So I think for us, it's a good matchup, right? Like, obviously, they've shown what they can do against Swindon in that first leg. So we kind of just have to come in prepared and ready to go.
Yeah, I watched that game on the stream. They were lights out. They were very good. They just very good defensively, and then when they had their opportunities, they capitalized. They've got a lot of guys that can put the puck in the net. Samodra's probably one of the best goalies in the league as well. What's going to be, obviously touching on it there, I said in the lead up that you're the leading scorer for the Raiders this year. I believe 70 plus points on the year so far, leading into this weekend. What's going to be your go-to to get pucks in and around Samodra?
Well, like you said, like, they're so good defensively. I think it's just kind of trying to create things, down low, kind of just working as a team. I think that's kind of what Sean's kind of been preaching all year, just kind of working as a team and not playing so much one-on-one hockey. So I think that's kind of the approach that we have to take, is just making sure we're moving pucks quickly and trying to get to the net in as much traffic as we can to kind of disrupt, whatever defense they kind of have.
Aaron Connolly's built for fucking games like this, by the way. Yeah. This kid's fucking built for this weekend. Like,
yeah, he loves it.
You're going to see something different out of him this weekend that I don't think the Raiders fans would have seen. The Bison fans, they would have seen it. He led them to trophies. He was the captain. He picked the trophy up. He will play like a motherfucker this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be on a different level. How important is it for you guys to like jump on the ship and just ride in? But Aaron's energy is going to be massive.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, like, he's been huge. Like, even last week, and not having Sean being away with GB, Clemmer did a great job kind of filling in for him. But having Aaron as a voice, second voice for Sean all year, and then being kind of a voice to kind of follow over the weekend's been huge. And then he's kind of been someone that we've leaned on all year, whether it's, we needed a goal or needed energy or anything like that. Like, he's one of the best captains I've ever had. So just to be able to have a leader like that and be able to show it on the ice, it makes it a lot easier for everyone else to kind of follow his momentum.
One of the other old guard there, Mr. Dan Scott, he kind of retired during the season. And then when we had Ethan on earlier on in the year, he was like, no, he's back playing bits and pieces. How important is it having a guy like Scotty at the back? Not only is he a great player, what a guy to have in the locker room.
Well, he retired again. So
Again,
yeah,
I can't fuck you, Scotty. I can't keep up. You make me look like I don't do my research.
yeah, he came back for about a month, and it was awesome to have him back. Obviously, the energy, like practicing late at night and everything, he kind of brought everyone's energy levels up. So that's obviously a huge piece to lose on the back end, but not like everyone else has kind of filled that role, or filled the void for him, and I think everyone's kind of taken that big step
I
because of it.
can't keep up with him, mate. Honestly,
Yeah.
every time I check in with one of you boys, something's changed. But yeah, you've got some good characters in that locker room. You touched on your coach there, Sean, not being there last weekend. Obviously, he's going to be there this weekend. We've had Sean on the podcast. Great guy. How's it been playing for a British coach for the first time?
No, it's been really good. He really understands the game, like X's and O's. Like it's unbelievable, and just being able to kind of make changes on the fly and really just kind of understanding the game. I think it's been huge. Kind of, I think showing where he's been able to take the team from last year to this year just kind of shows how good of a coach he really is and how much he can kind of influence players. So,
Oh, he's a big hockey nerd, eh?
oh yeah,
He
no,
loves
he
it.
loves it.
Like he's right up there on the guys that I've met that love it the most.
Mhm.
He's definitely like a student of the game, and he's done a great job there, as you say, from coming from where they were last year. The league expanded this year to maybe we thought Romford Raiders. God, can never get that right either. They've moved too many times, but the increase on points versus last year, the fact that you guys picked up 30 wins this year.
Yeah,
30 wins in 56 games for a team that missed playoffs last year is unbelievable.
yeah, no, it was huge. Like obviously, before I signed, I kind of obviously did my research and everything, and it kind of looked like a disappointing year, and then I obviously showed up a little later after preseason, but like
Smart
they're
move.
yeah,
Good move.
timed it perfectly.
I love that.
And they were winning games, and like everything looked super positive. And then I remember it was my first day here, and we played Leeds. And I was sitting out, and I think they lost like 6-1 or something, and fans were coming up to me, kind of saying like, "Oh, like, are you sure you want to stay?" Kind of thing. Like,
Yeah,
taking little
out already.
But like even like watching that game, I remember kind of seeing the potential that was there, and obviously not knowing what Leeds was gonna become this year as well. But
Absolute wagon, eh?
yeah, like such a good
Ridiculous.
team. So I think from there to now, like the impact that Sean's had on the team's been huge, and we wouldn't be where we are without him right now.
You boys had your playoff spot secured nice and early. Was it nice to play the last couple of months of the season with no pressure, really?
Yeah, yeah, like it was nice. I think there's a small period of time there where I think we're like 4-6 points back of Swindon. So that was kind of something that we're kind of gunning
Just
for.
chasing.
Yeah, and then we dropped a couple points, and it kind of, went downhill. But I think we kind of had the mindset of, okay, well, even if that's not a thing, we can kind of find our game and, go into playoffs with confidence. And it was kind of touch and go there as well with losing 9-2 to Basingstoke. But that
I
was
was at that game.
worry.
I can't even explain what the fuck you boys were doing.
No, no, like
Brutal. I
it
said
was,
I said if you boys played like that in the playoffs, geez, you're gonna get smoked.
yeah.
And then obviously you didn't because you went on and beat the Phantoms. But
Mhm.
I'd seen you boys there. I tell you what, the thing was actually the time I'd seen you there before. Aaron was playing, Scotty was playing, and Ethan was playing. And then this time, neither guy was playing. Your number 2 goalie, Brad, was in. So it just looked completely different. And then like you see like a week later you pick up a result again. I was like, okay, that was just a blip. But
Yeah.
did you boys get chewed out after that or what?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it was just one of those I think we almost needed to kind of, turn the tables because we're getting a little too comfortable with, like you said, like we're already in playoffs, like there's nothing really going on. And I think that was kind of the kick in the ass that we needed to be like, okay, like here we go. And I think it was the weekend after that where we beat Swindon and Sheffield, I want to say, in overtime. I'm terrible with schedules, but we won 2 games in overtime, and then that was kind of where it, you know, we were able to kind of build that momentum for playoffs, and obviously that belief being down, and then like we saw in Peterborough going down into game 2 and being able to come back in that as well.
What have you made of the UK hockey scene since you came over? Obviously, like you said, you came over just after pre-season. You had your time in junior A, then you went down the U Sports route. You played, 17 games of the coast. Now you've come over here. What have you made of the hockey so far?
It's been good. Obviously, going to different rinks and having to play in different dimensions has been challenging, right?
Of
Like
course, yeah, it's
one game
different
you're
for you,
playing in
right?
Slough, and then the next night you're playing in Sheffield, and it's totally different, right? But it's really been good. I've really enjoyed my time over here. So
I forget that, right? Because obviously this is just how we grew up. So one week you play on Olympic pad, next week it's NHL. It was even worse in the EPL because obviously Basingstoke's Olympic, Guildford was Olympic, Bracknell was Olympic. Brighton was the hottest rink in the country. Like honestly, it was insane. You would have to just sit in no gear until about 2 minutes before warm up, and then zip your gear on just so that you could get out there. But then you go to like a rink. It was called the Isle of Wight. I don't know if the boys have ever told you about the
no,
island.
no.
So
Oh
it's
yeah, I heard about it from a
yeah.
fan actually the other day.
So it's right down on the south coast, little island off the south of England, and man, I don't know what it would be. The rink's got to be 50 feet shorter. So basically you're playing like from goal line to blue line, maybe,
Yeah,
and fucking half the width of Basingstoke. And they used to play 5-on-5 there. Carnage.
makes no
Honestly,
sense.
guys just getting killed. It was such a good place to play though, because you had to get the boat across.
Yeah,
And then all the fans were on the boat having beers and having pints. And then the bar was cheap, so it was always a good atmosphere. There's nothing to do on the island other than watch hockey. So
yeah,
everybody used to come out. It was a good place. But going back to what you're saying, it would be so different. You have to adapt from like that to Olympic. And for you play in one size rink all the
yeah,
time. This is
yeah.
so different. Do you find getting your shots off or changing your game a little bit? You might find it a little bit easier to get your shot off and have a little bit more time in the bigger rinks.
Yeah, yeah. Like obviously there's pros and cons, right? Like I love going to Sheffield. Like there's always so much space out there. Even MK, like just to kind of be able to play my game and kind of use my speed. But at the same time, like if you go play Bs, you can kind of shoot the puck from everywhere and kind of
Yeah.
there's a chance it might go in, right? So just kind of adapting to the rink has kind of helped me a little bit.
What do you make of Romford's new facility? Because obviously I had the privilege or the non-privilege of playing at the old Rom Valley Way back in the day when it was netting, you get hit and you're fucking it's stuck to the side. Now you have this beautiful, shiny new facility. How's it playing there?
But it's unbelievable. Like obviously like the facility's super nice. Like we have a gym in there, like sauna.
Okay, cool.
So it kind of it works out really well where everything's kind of in one location for us. And then obviously like the amount of fans that we can kind of hold in there's like the perfect amount where, we're almost selling out a lot of games and the fans are always loud. So it's been a really nice facility in there.
Raiders fans have always been good. Like I was touching on, obviously you done the junior thing and you done the U Sports thing. How have you adapted to training at like fucking? Well, I don't know what time you train, but it's nighttime. Yeah, probably like a 9:30 p.m.
9:30,
practice.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, how's that? Well, you got to sit around all day waiting for practice.
yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, the first few weeks were tough where it was kind of I was coming in and obviously guys are working all day and like they're probably exhausted, but my first couple of weeks I hadn't practiced that late since I was probably 15,
Yeah,
16. So I'm rolling into the rink at that time and Aaron was always making the joke like you look exhausted and it was just kind of one of those things that I hadn't been used to, but now it's totally
yes,
fine.
that's fine now. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times a week are you boys skating?
We have 3 ice times, but one of them's optional. So
Okay, some of the guys at work take the option.
yeah, so it's 2 to 3 times kind of thing.
How's that for your like work? Are you working while you're over here? Or are you just playing?
Um, I'm working as a hockey agent kind of back home, so
Okay,
it's kind of nice. I get to do that online and then all day
perfect.
go to the rink at night. So
What sort of guys are you working with through your agency?
Couple like pro guys, like guys that I've played with that have reached out asking for help. I've got a couple of guys that are going to the Western League draft this year, and then
Oh,
a few
wicked.
20-year-olds trying to go to school. So kind of have a mixed bag of everything.
What made you want to get into that avenue? Was that something you studied when you was doing youth sports, or
No,
just post career sort of thing?
yeah, like I was just kind of thinking, obviously getting a little older now, like thinking, okay, well, how can I kind of stay involved in the game, whether that's coaching or this? And I kind of knew that if I was coming over here, becoming an agent would kind of be something to do during the day.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd give it a shot for a year and kind of see how I liked it and everything. So it's been good.
And I mean, now that it's out in the UK hockey scene, I would not be surprised if you get a couple of kids from this way try to spot them on teams in North America. That could also be another avenue because or Europe. A lot of the kids are going to Europe now. I don't know if that's any interest to you, but like getting involved in the Swedish market and the German market, and that there's a lot of good hockey players out there.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like we have one 15-year-old, maybe 16-year-old that comes out and practices with us and like doesn't look out of place at all. Like it's crazy some of these kids coming up. So well, never know, right?
Well, the way the game's changed, even since I stopped playing, what's that, 9, 10 years? All these kids have got so much skill now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a lot easier when no one's trying to run you into the middle of
Yeah.
next, no one's trying to run you into the middle of next week. But you know, it's good to see that they're progressing in their skills, and there is a few young guys that are able to come through and take steps up. Someone I've been really impressed with from your roster this year, he's kind of been up and down with the ones and the twos, is TJ.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What's that kid like?
He's a goof, but like
Oh
he,
yeah,
he he's always keeping things like you can just tell like it's so hard to kind of knock him off the puck, even for being kind of a smaller guy. But you can tell like he's gonna be a good player in this league.
yeah, I've been really impressed with him. Another guy that I've been impressed with when I watch you is Sylvester. He seems to just snipe every time I see him. What um what do you think? What's the best way of what do you think a player like that would have to do to take the next step up? Because I think he has a lot of attributes of someone that he's big, he can shoot, he can
Yeah,
skate. I don't know. Like I feel like maybe he because we always talk about guys that could potentially go to the elite league, and he's one for me. I don't know if he would ever want to or anything. But what do you think would be like that thing just to get him that next level to take that step?
I think a big thing just I think playing like in the coast and just seeing a lot of guys from the coast go to the elite league. Like I think the biggest thing is just kind of puck protection down low. Like that's such a big part of I feel that group of players' skill sets.
Yeah,
That if guys can kind of master that maybe a little more at this level, it'd be such a big attribute to them. But like you said, like he's so good, like finding little areas in the slot and being able to get a shot off and beating guys one on one. So obviously, I don't know exactly what kind of I guess British talents up there, but like I have a hard time believing that he wouldn't be able to kind of be up there.
yeah, I definitely think he is, and it's just so it's interesting to talk to guys that play with the players because obviously we speak about it on here, and then you talk to a guy that plays, you get to see stuff that we don't. I mean, I maybe see 3, 4 times a season where you're seeing him every day in practice,
Yeah,
and you get to see the little intangibles that make a difference whether a player could make it or not. Because there's a lot of players like Harry Gulliver, he played for Manchester. I think if
yeah,
he'd have got more ice time, I think he would still be there.
yeah.
I mean, their loss is your guys' gain. How good's he been this year?
He's been really good. He's kind of been pushed, around in the lineup, whether it's been playing with me and Aaron or him and Jake and whoever their center ends up being. He's kind of had to be adaptable and played with everyone, and he's always, never complained, like always kind of stepped up in the role and obviously produced really well this year. He's had to play center for the last, I guess, month and a bit, and doesn't look out of place at all. So he's been a really big asset to have this year, obviously.
He's a beauty as well, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Super
Big,
big.
big beauty. He comes from a great family. Like, does his mum kick around the rink?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So,
she's
yeah,
a
she's awesome.
she's a fucking diamond.
Yeah.
Like, so when I was coaching, when they were all like under 17s, I had like Harry, Ethan, and like all the guys their sort of age. I had them on trips out in Belgium and stuff. Like
Oh,
what a bunch of kids to take away. Because I was your age when I was doing that. I was like 25. And I
oh
was
yeah.
taking like a 17-year-old Harry and all that on a trip. It was a fucking blast. And all these kids could play, right? So it was always fun. What have you found like to be the major differences coming out? Obviously, you had a little stint in the coast in between, but out of U Sports and coming into like your first full year as a pro.
Um, I like honestly, like it hasn't been that big of a change because there, like we play on weekends as well, and then here, like we only play on weekends, so it's just kind of trying to, you know, ride, I guess, that momentum that you get after having a good weekend to try and kind of bring it to next weekend, just because there's such a big change or a big gap in the schedule there, so that's kind of been a little easier to manage. And then just from like the game play kind of thing, I think there's just a lot more room off the rush kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of helped me out a little bit and just being able to get a bit more space off the rush, but there hasn't been too big of a change otherwise.
Have you enjoyed this more like offensive role where you're getting to play top minutes and be expected to produce good numbers?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I haven't really had this role since I was probably 16. Since then it's kind of always been like second, third line, like matching up against the other team's top line and just trying to shut them down. So learning that and then being able to kind of apply that while having, a bigger offensive role this year, I think has helped me a lot and it's been a lot of fun.
Whereabouts have they got you living?
We're about 10 minutes, 10-minute walk away from the rink.
Oh, okay, that's not too
It's
bad.
not bad at all, no.
Are you living with anybody else, or are you on your own? Or
Yeah, we only have the one team house, so we have Blaho Novak living here now, and then Alex Roberts is living here as well. So
yeah,
we get,
We had Blaho on a little while back. He's a good guy.
yeah, no, he's awesome.
See, he's another one he's got that fuck you about him that
Oh yeah,
he's gonna be ready to go this weekend.
yeah,
He's your kind of playoff sandpaper finish kind of guy,
yeah,
and you're going to need that against the Steel Dogs. And if you're to get past the Steel Dogs, then Telford or Leeds away, I think it's going to be good games of hockey, whichever way it turns out with all semi-finals. Because for you guys, you've obviously knocked off a higher seed. For the Tigers, they've knocked off a higher seed. You both have nothing to lose going into this weekend. You're both dangerous. Both have goaltenders that can shut the door. I think Brad Day had something like 96% save percentage last weekend or something
yeah.
stupid. Like, it's insane. And you boys, obviously, you showed that you could score goals. What was it, 9 goals over the weekend last week? Maybe
I think
more.
so. Yeah,
Like in playoff hockey, if you can tuck 9, that's legit in 2
yeah.
games. I don't expect the games at Coventry to be mega high scoring.
No, no.
Yeah.
Especially like I said, like well, for our case, anyways, with Sheffield, like they're just so defensive that we're just gonna have to match that.
They're so good defensively. Shout out to nilhlstats.wordpress.com. Just having a look through your guys' kind of like last 10. So last 10 games, 6 wins, 4 losses, 46 goals against, 47 goals for. So you're +1 on the goals. The power play has been running lovely at the moment. 11 goals and 42 for a 26.19 save percentage. Penalty kill needs a bit of work. It's down at 70%. It's not going to get the job done in the playoffs. So you boys are going to have to like up that. What do you think is going to be like the other kind of crucial things? Because looking at all the stats in the last few games, your shots for have been averaging 38.9 and your shots against 35.8. So the numbers in your guys' favor in terms of, you're getting more shots than the opposition. You're scoring well on your power play opportunities. You're in more of the win column than you are the losses column. So what's going to be the keys to like getting that penalty kill up? Because the dogs can score goals on the power play.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like we've really worked on it, I guess, the last couple of weeks. So we're trying to really just hammer home the principles of it all. So our penalty kill was a lot better last week weekend I found.
Yeah, good.
So just kind of trying to build off of that, and obviously Sheffield line up a little different than Peterborough, but to kind of have those, I guess, basics mastered at this point in the year. Hopefully that kind of carries over to
Yeah, they got Matt Bissonette just zipping it around out
yeah.
there, tape to tape through 7 skates and 2 sticks. It's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, sometimes there's not really a lot you can do on the PP
Oh, no.
when you have guys out there that are really good at their job. Your power play though, 1 in 4 right now. That's just over 1 in 4. That's running pretty good numbers. Are you happy with the way the power play is looking going in?
Yeah. I think Sean changed it up about a month or so ago, and ever since then it's kind of clicked. We really struggled at the start of the year with trying to kind of figure out the right personnel and kind of where to get shots from. I think at times where we were a little too selfish, then other times it was unselfish, and we couldn't really find that right
Just
mix.
zipping it around the edge,
Yeah.
like looks sick but getting nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Or like trying crossing passes and like wouldn't work, or like things like that. And I think in the last month, Sean's kind of, given us a bit more freedom with it all, and be a little more creative while still kind of having that structure within it. And that's kind of, helped us a lot in the last few games, as it shows on by the stats.
Yeah, it's impressive. And it's the time of the year that you want your PP to be hot, because it's generally when the referees put their whistles in their pocket a little bit more than they normally would in a kind of final 4.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they kind of let you guys play how it should be played and play hard and not be dictating the outcome of the game. So the 1s and 2s and 3 power plays that you get in a game, they're so important.
Yeah. So no, hopefully we can capitalize on a couple of them this weekend.
Have you ever played in a kind of Final Four weekend like this before?
No, I've never had anything like this before. It's always been playoff series, so it's exciting to kind of see everyone come down.
It's fun because not only is it fun because all the fans are there, they're all crippled.
Yeah.
Like they treat it like a stag and hen party. They, it's their end of season blowout. Everybody goes hard. They're in fancy dress. They've got all the drums. The atmosphere is legit. It's really good, especially if it's busy, which I think it will be this year with the new teams involved and just how attendances have been up over the entire league. I think it's going to be pretty rammed, which will be great. The atmosphere it's kind of like you say, you're used to series or over here, like head to head to get there.
Yeah.
And then it all comes down to just one game. And it's like if you're in the first game, it's like 3:00 or like 2:00. You never play at that time.
No.
So it's different.
Like 1:30 or something.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So you get the early face off. That's actually a good thing. So if you boys were to win it, what's the plan? Do you plan to stay or do you plan to travel back and come back again on the Sunday? I don't know what the travel arrangements would be.
I think we're staying over. I think that's what we're trying to figure it out right now with hotels and everything, but it sounds like we're going to be staying over. So be nice to kind of have one last weekend as a team on top of that. Yeah,
absolutely. It's always good to wrap it up in style. I think as well, when you can go, you can kind of, especially if you guys have got that early game, maybe they sort you boys out an early check-in, you can just jump in a shower, whatever it is, just make yourself feel good before you head down to the rink. You have obviously never played at Coventry before. It's a pretty decent barn. I think you'll have success there just with the size of the ice, and there's a lot of room in those offensive zones, which for someone that likes to have the puck on the stick, that's going to be useful for you. The way it lines up, obviously you could potentially end up meeting Leeds on the Sunday. We touched on them before. They are arguably the best team since the NIHL has started this league, really. I think in the last 5 seasons, there hasn't really been a more complete team. What's it been like getting to battle against those guys?
It's been fun. Obviously, there's, I think the last one or 2 games ago, I think we lost like 9-1 or something like that. But, like it's fun, like even going in there and competing and, trying, like you're going in there trying to prove yourself, not only as a player, but as a team. So I think that challenge always makes it exciting to play teams like that. So it's been good.
And the final potential matchup for yourselves would be the Telford Tigers. Telford have had a resurgence of late. kind of January onwards. They've put up some good results. They obviously then beat MK in the 2 legs last weekend. How have you matched up against Telford over the course of the year?
Really well. I don't know. I don't think we lost to them all year. So
So that would be your dream final then.
yeah, realistically, yeah, like obviously I we kind of hope we get them, but um at the end of the day, like you said, like they've had a resurgence the last time we were there. I think we won in overtime as well. So like they're a good team, and like they shouldn't be underestimated by any means.
Got some wily veterans that have been there and done it, and
Yeah.
they've been at this weekend and they've picked that trophy up, and they know what that feeling's like, and they can they can just get that room going. And they sort of it's crazy. You'll find, I know, you'll probably look back in about 4 or 5 weeks time and be like, whoa, that was mad. Like one little mistake from somebody, one bad call from a ref, one missed offside. You'll be able to look back, and because it's a one-off game, every little thing matters so much. Right, before we let you go, is there anyone on your roster that has maybe gone a little bit like unsung this year that you want to give a shout out? Maybe that we don't talk about that often, or it's not on everybody's podcast or stuff, but you see week in, week out, it's just been unreal for you guys.
I really do think like there's a lot of unsung heroes on your team. Like you look at all the guys that have grown up in Romford, whether that's Brandon Aliff or Jack Hooper, Jacob Branson kind of coming through, Tommy Hoggett, like obviously our top 2 lines are kind of there to produce, but like everybody, like the third line, like our D court, like I said earlier, with Scotty kind of leaving, have kind of all taken a huge step in the right direction and kind of helped us get to this point. Because like I said, like last year was kind of obviously really disappointing for the guys that stayed here, and without them, like we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Right, and one final one from me before I let you go and focus on your semi-final. If the offer was to be there, would you be looking to come back to the UK again?
Yeah. It's definitely something that interests me. So we're kind of trying to figure it out right now and kind of going from there. So.
And what would you maybe say if you as an agent? Here we go. If you as an agent, you are an agent. How do you sell the league to a guy that's in U Sports right now that's thinking, right, I don't know, let's say for argument's sake, Hull's just contacted me. I know you play there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you sell the league to them?
You can kind of go about it where you kind of get the best of both worlds, where you get to enjoy hockey, but you also get to enjoy your life. Like I know so many guys have kind of sacrificed so much for hockey, and obviously like this is still super competitive, super serious, but you only practice 2-3 times a week at night. So you still kind of have your days to kind of do whatever you want. You're playing weekends, like you're in your own bed every night. The competition's good. Like you get to kind of see a different part of the world. So at the end of the day, like it's an unreal experience if you do get to, like, if you are fortunate enough to come over here.
You sold it to me, my man.
Yeah.
Right, buddy. I wish you the best of luck for this weekend. And, well, hopefully we'll get you back on to dive down some of your earlier career stuff and talk about growing up, being an ice hockey player. But, Matt, we wish you all the best for the very first Final Four weekend for you.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot for having me.
Right, guys, if you haven't already, loads of you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Plenty of you have, though, so thanks for keep watching. Make sure you share this. Get it around with the Romford community. They're going to want to be watching ahead of the weekend. Right, for now, though, guys, peace. We'll see you again soon. Cheers, man.